So that's why today I wanted just to talk about how you see the ecosystem in terms of the communities, like accelerator programs for female founders, some topics related to the mentorship and in a sense, consulting services for startups, because I think that also might be something that you've been working on or like engaged with, right? Then, of course, about your story as a founder of the Joy&Meal and how your experiences and, your past coming from engineering somehow contributed to develop the Joy&Meal, in a sense, and how you eventually came up with the Joy&Meal idea and the idea of the Joy&Meal. So that's basically my points I wanted to chat with you about. But maybe just to move things a bit up, maybe you could tell who is Noelia now. So are you a founder, are you a consultant, or who is Noelia and what is she doing daily?
That's a good question. Yes. So basically my full-time occupation now is founder. So even I have to know, so we are, in a seed stage, seed, pre-seed, I don't know. So we have a running business and very limited resources. So even when I want to do less, there's always someone wanting something from me or customers coming, which is the great thing. And I never can say no to a customer. So I'm basically a full-time founder that on top basically needed to build a consulting business as a freelance to finance myself. So this is what I'm trying to do in my free time to be able to keep the startup running. And this is what I do.
So basically you're bootstrapping then with the Joy&Meal, right? So you're not financing out of external sources.
No. So, well, we had a grant in 2022 from the Bavarian government, a small amount of money, which helped a lot anyway. But as you probably are familiar with, so the last 22, 23 were years where they were very bad for fundraising from business angels, venture capitalists, and so on. So in the year 22, we were kind of trying to approach some business angels, and in the end, it didn't work out. We were at the very, very early stage. And in the year 23, basically, I decided that I was not going to spend time with that because I think it was just too difficult. And we are not a deep tech startup. And this is what I see investors are more interested on now. And I mean, deep tech and AI. So we're not developing technology. We're doing things in real life and applying using technology to enable this. So I decided to focus on sales and live a business basically. And so everything is bootstrapped basically for fun.
I see. And the Joy&Meal, just in one sentence, so what's the main product of it?
Well, Joy&Meal is an integrated digital ecosystem, making it very easy for busy individuals and corporations to book private cooking services in many different life aspects, meaning meal prepping for the busy working people, private events at home, some parties, and we also do cooking classes as team building events, interactive and very inclusive and very fun, and also open cooking classes in open groups. And we are the ecosystem, connecting the cooks, the customers, the locations, and making all the arrangements so that it's really for everyone. It's really easy to make this, to have this cooking service.
So you create basically automated experience, right? In a way for cookers, for customers, for whoever is joining the platform, right? The Joy&Meal.
So we take care of all the boring parts of booking and matching and processing and administration and finding appointments and finding a location and payments and all this stuff. And we take care of all these boring tasks so that the cooks can concentrate on cooking, the customers can have their meals or have the nice experiences and nice events. Location owners have, without any problems, their money and their location back in a good state. So this is what we do.
Okay, amazing. But I have a question. So looking at your, I did some research, of course, right? I stalked a bit on the LinkedIn profile and stuff, and you're coming from a complete different background, right? So it was engineering at first, if I'm not mistaken, and you've been in this product development and like business development process for the last 15 years, right, of your professional career. But how did you come up with the Joy&Meal? Because, it's a food tech, right? It's something like completely out of and far off from engineering, I'd say. So was there someone, or like, did you just decided to go for it, research the niche, and you saw the need of it? Or how did you come up with an idea of Joy&Meal in the first place?
Yeah. So, as you said, so I worked for 14, 15 years in the industry. I am an industrial engineer, industrial mechanical engineer by training, and worked in hardware development, so development of physical products, machine devices, as a design engineer, developer, systems engineer, tech lead, and so on. And in my last company, I got to know the business analysts and the business innovation managers. And one of them, she introduced me to the business model canvas. And I thought that was something really, really exciting. And I thought, okay, I think this is something for me, or where I would like to be. And I was kind of looking for some idea that I could start. And actually in the digital area, because I thought this is, let's say, more the future, or the innovation there is faster than in hardware. And the idea of Joy&Meal came a little bit out of my own need of, willing to have, let's say, healthy food, freshly cooked food every day. And actually never had was working in a company where we had a nice canteen, and like eating in a restaurant is not, let's say, taking delivery food is not an option for me. This is not how I grew up, not how my family has been doing this so far. And if you want to work, if you're a full-time employee, have, your family, friends, hobbies, whatever, I don't always have the time to cook for me and, for the next day. So this the idea came out of their own need. The idea started with a group of friends, a bit of a joke, like, oh, it would be nice somehow to join people in these, kind of events and have this intercultural exchange. And when I started thinking more deeply about this, I realized that something like Joy&Meal could have a deeper impact in many parts of the society, and for many people, people who are ordering, the busy families, the people who are cooking, who could be foreigners, and indeed they are, sharing their authentic traditional recipes, their skills, being able to earn money in the formal economy, which is, it's coming from another country. You don't know the language, you don't have a network, you don't know how the bureaucracy works. So it's, very difficult to start, let's say, your life, and especially, and also business, in another country. So yeah, I thought this could have a big impact, and I decided to try it.
Mm-hmm. So basically, out of a joke to a successful business, right? Case for you. Amazing. But so you said you matched with friends, right? You talked about it, and then you just went for it. But let's say your friends, were they just also kind of enthusiastic about it, or were they professionals from the field, or maybe are you a foodie yourself, or who were the friends? So are they still your co-founders of the Joy&Meal?
No. This was just in one dinner. I'd say I'm a foodie myself. I like to eat good things, but I don't have the time to cook, So, and I come from Galicia in Spain. This is the northwest of Spain. Spain in general is a region where a gastronomic culture is, gastronomy is something very, very important. In the region where I come from, it's, I'd say, even more important. So if you met my family, you would know why I'm in this, basically. Yeah.
Okay. I see. So basically, genetics were calling, right?
Yeah. Well, genetics is also on the health part. So we, in my family also, so in the women in my family, we have, there's a story of, let's say, colon cancer disease on one side. So this is, like, let's say, eating fresh things, healthy, and so on is something that, let's say, is part of our daily life. I'm, let's say, aware of and mindful of what I'm eating. And that's, for example, why I don't have a subscription to any of these food delivery services, because I don't think it just does not feel good for me when I eat regularly that food.
I see. Great. So Joy&Meal, friends, family. So at least now you have a beautiful story, right? When you tell about Joy&Meal, what are you doing? Because I think when you have a very like personal touch to it, right? So then it's even easier in a way to sell the product, right? So like when you pitch or whatever, or when you just sit with people like me and tell a story of what is Joy&Meal and actually all about. But I'm curious, so you started with the friends because, as I mentioned in the very beginning, right, I wanted to touch base upon this topic of the mentorship, and that's also been kind of like one of the requests from the startups that I'm working with on the daily basis as part of the Entrepreneurship Center. And we've been talking more and more about this mentorship, like how you really vibe with people and then they just tell their stories, share their experiences, and then that kind of backs you up also on your personal journey. But would you say that in the journey of the Joy&Meal for you personally as Noelia, there was maybe like one person who taught you the most, or maybe who you would consider as the mentor for yourself, as Noelia founder, or like as Noelia just a professional, or something in that sense? Or what do you think about mentorship in general?
Yes. I don't think there was one person. Let's say that I can say this he or she is my mentor for this whole process. But what I did, so what I started when I stopped working for the company and started with full-time delivering the Joy&Meal. First thing that I did, I went to a co-working space. Actually, I went to the Impact Hub Munich, so I was started being a member there. And there are many people, basically all of them are freelancers, smaller business, larger companies, and so on. And the exchange with every one of them, just like random exchange, having a coffee, or for lunch, whatever, this helped me a lot when I had bad days, they were, it's like, okay, this is a normal thing. They were telling about their bad days, and also they were telling about the good days. So being in this community, it helped me, I think, a lot to understand, okay, this is part of the process when you're feeling frustrated or you're having these bad days. Then I had a children's coach. So actually, this is something that at least in Bavaria, you can apply. Like the Commerce Chamber can give you some money you can even have some grant for this, to work with a children's coach, a funding coach. And he guided me through the more like the administrative stuff and about how to build the business plan in a way that's, let's say, maybe more realistic and less on the fancy unicorn side. So I use this, and then also, so I tried from the beginning to get into this, in the startup ecosystem in Munich. And luckily, so I got into this. It was a relatively short program from the university, like Hochschule to München and LMO. I think it was the MGIS. So a short program for impact startups, and there we had some mentoring sessions and so on. So I wouldn't say that I had one person, but I've always been looking for, impulses from everywhere, and whatever. So anyone can tell, or many people can tell me something about some topic, and then from there I can continue.
Yeah, just like always be surrounded by the community then, in a sense. Yeah, like people. Okay, got it. Yeah. And this thing in Munich, so the founders, or how you call it, so who are guiding you like on administrative stuff, is it like free of charge, or they just selective when you apply, or how did that work?
No, you have to pay for this. So if you are unemployed, you can have one of these person or one program like this, one funding coaching for free. But I know I thought this one person, because I got to know him or someone recommended him in some startup webinar or something like this. So I thought it would be better for me to work directly with him. So I had to pay for this, but so I got a grant from the Commerce Chamber. I can imagine that in some other areas in Germany, you can get the same support. And this is something that anyone can use. It's not just a student in the university, someone that wants to open a, I don't know, hair salon or a shop or whatever. Anyone can use this. Yeah. Yeah. And this was, I had no idea about, I don't have, let's say, I don't have anyone in my family who was founding a company before. So I had no relation to, okay, how is this going to be on the formal side and taxes and what do I need to do? How do I need to register this? I had no idea at all. And this was the work with this coach was very good and very useful for me to clarify the steps and step by step, being more comfortable with the idea of yes, I can do it. Too.
But that might have been also sometimes frustrating, isn't it? Like when you literally have no clue about where even to tackle this big thing, right? Like as an entrepreneurship. So was there anything that kept you afloat, or that was exactly those people around you, this co-working space who just gave you advice here, there, or maybe there was just something like complete offsite that, kept you motivated to really keep going for it?
That's a good question. There was a moment where it was 1 week, right at the beginning, 3 months after I started or something, where there was 1 week where on the Monday, I remember, so woke up and I thought, okay, I'm giving up. I'm not continuing with this. And then I did went to the co-working space, talked to two guys, and then they convinced me, because I just had been accepted into this first accelerator. And they said, no, but you need to, you have this, you need to try this at least until until end of the year or something. So, during this week, it's I know Monday, I thought, okay, I'm giving up. Tuesday or Wednesday, I thought, okay, I'm doing this until the end of the year. So 2 months more, something like this. And then I talked to these guys. I was like, no, you need to finish this accelerator. It's going to be a good thing. It's okay, then I'm doing this until March. And it was okay, I do this until March and I'm not going to question this anymore. This is a decision, whatever happens. And if in March it's not good, okay, then I'll do something else. But I think it was an important moment of this. At some point, or in this day, I decided not to question this. Am I doing this? Yes, no. Okay, in March, I think again about this. And it was with a horizon of 3-4 months. And then in March, I decided to, or things were there to, or the situation was there to continue. So, yeah, I think, maybe the takeaway is this: not questioning every single day whether it makes sense what you're doing or not, but maybe
just give it some time, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
And another try and talk to people more, probably, right? Well,
yeah.
Because I'd say that's the most common thing that I hear from other founders, co-founders, just professionals from the ecosystem. They say, just talk as much as possible with whoever, either share your idea or ask for help or just have a casual chat over coffee. That's really the most precious, I think, tip you could also give, to whoever will be watching this video. Yes. But then, back to this accelerator topic, because you mentioned that a couple of times. And I know that you've been also part of the fellowships programs, right? So you were pretty much into the topic. So what would you say about an accelerator, as a very, general term? So would you say an accelerator is an absolute must for any founder, co-founder, a startup to be part of? Or was there any particular value or maybe any particular accelerator that you could highlight for you and for the Joy&Meal story?
Yeah. So maybe 2 things here. I think that one, need to be very careful with which, let's say, which accelerator you're applying for and which accelerator you're participating in. I have the impression there are many, I don't know, maybe many accelerators, many programs out there that maybe do not provide too much value or not very, let's say, precise value and precise particular advice to these startups. And I think you can spend a lot of time in applications, and this time is precious. And maybe it's better to spend the time in really building your company than, getting accepted in the next accelerator and maybe winning the next prize or something like this. And second thing, so when you find a good one, I think this can be life-changing, but very, very valuable. And I'd like to mention, so I've been in until end of the year in a short program of German entrepreneurship. So German Accelerator, the Kickstart program, which is about, right from the beginning, helping scalable startups and startups that want to scale internationally, help them set the basics right. And I think this was really, really valuable. So Pori and the whole team, what they did for us, the content was always very good. The speakers and mentors they had for us were amazing. And I mentioned this in the program a couple of times. So many times, or through the whole program, I was thinking like, okay, why has no one told me this all these 2 years before? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
But would you say, because, when I look at an accelerators, I feel like sometimes an accelerator is really about just the names that you have on it, and sometimes like about the knowledge. So even without maybe like, big names or a very sound speakers, you still could have like a really, really good content out of it. So what do you say, like, when you select an accelerator, so is it more about just what kind of the network you get out of it, or is it more about the knowledge? Or of course, like if you find both, that's like a win-win, right? But probably that's very rare case when you have like all together. Maybe then for this kind of accelerator, you would have to give up like quite a good percentage of equity, or, or something like that. So what would you say, the network and the connections you get, or the knowledge, if you like decided this to concrete way? If we're talking about an accelerator, or maybe you have your own criteria, you could tell like, okay, this is something you really have to look at when you opt for this or that particular accelerator program for your startup.
And I'd say both. So the knowledge, I would go for or value more the knowledge that you can get. And let's say somehow on the side, try to leverage the network that is possible to get out of that accelerator, or but for me at this moment, I think the knowledge is more important.
I see.
And also, let's say on a personal level, I don't know, I hope Joy&Meal develops well, but I don't know, and the more knowledge that I get, the better I'm gonna be able to be a second startup idea.
That probably also then depends on what stage you are at, right, with your startup and like with your journey. If you need like a big name, like a partner or something, then that's something you should look for in the accelerator.
Yeah.
Got it. But also on the same note, what about all these programs like, The Break or I'm Remarkable? Because I think that was also where you were part of. But correct me here, I'm not really sure. Were the part of the programs like as a mentor yourself, or just someone like as on the other side of the business, or were you part of the program with the Joy&Meal project? So how have you been engaged in those projects?
Yeah. So, well, I'm Remarkable is a women initiative empowering women and underrepresented groups in the workplace to learn more about self-promotion, learn about importance, and practice their skills. And so this is not, or less, this is not like something directed to startups. This is basically open to anyone. And I started there almost 4 years ago by my own initiative as a mentor, as a facilitator. And I started. So what you do, so the whole initiative is based on one workshop, 2 hours workshop that you do online, on site, within your network, in your company, and so on. So I started hosting these workshops in my network. Then I brought the initiative to my previous employer. And after that, I've been also hosting the sessions in the co-working space, for example. Yes, so I was there a facilitator, and in the break, I was also on the mentor side. So I don't know exactly how, but somehow I got it. Well, I have an idea how, but anyway, so I got one email like, hey, there is this program, and we're looking for mentors, and I applied, and they liked my experience, and then I was on the mentor side, and I think it was good because the break is a program for female entrepreneurs all over Europe that is hosted in, or that is based in Spain. So this is organized in Spain. I think they have European funding and funding from the Spanish government to develop startup ecosystem in Spain, and especially beyond the borders. And so I was a mentor there. And then what I want to say, so they had, when I participated last year in the 2 cohorts, the startups or the projects were very, very early stage. So I know business model canvas were not completely, or the business idea was not completely, say, refined, financial plans were not completely refined, and so on. So that was something I think where I could add value.
There was like then more of an early stage startup thing.
Yeah. And it was, I must say, it was very interesting how to say, to see so I made the same mistakes. So when you're a bit farther, months later or years later, and you realize, okay, from the beginning, which are the, let's say, important things you should focus on, and how should you start testing your idea and validating or assessing if your business model makes sense. That was a great experience for me to work with them and realize, let's say, or realize more my own mistakes or my own, let's say, way.
But I think they call it experience in a way, right? Like when you just over time you see, that like we all do mistakes, then you learn in this mistake. So especially with founders, right? So it's crucial to always test your business model, test your product, and just keep working on your product again and again. But so if you would say that, like, now Accelerators great, fellowship programs great, so would there be any, let's say, top 3 programs you could recommend right now if, let's say, we have a female founder, or maybe a team with a lead who is a female founder, like, with an immigrant background to add on? What would be your 3 accelerator programs to join in 2024?
Good question. Because honestly, I've been focusing on building the business and not like researching the accelerators last time. But so I think that from German entrepreneurship, from my experience, I think they're really good and they provide a lot of value. So this, I think they've just changed the names, but you can change. So from German entrepreneurship, this Kickstart for scale, also international companies that want to scale internationally. There's, I think, a master accelerator from them, which is about investment readiness, where I want to apply myself. So those 2, and and I think, there are a couple of interesting.
Just maybe not necessarily in Germany, maybe any other European country is also fine.
Well, Google has some, Google for Startups, they have some programs for underrepresented groups for females, especially if you're a deep tech company. I think I can imagine that this can be very interesting and very valuable for both on both sides, the knowledge and the network that you get, and the name, of course.
Yeah.
So I would also try something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the final question: if, let's say, someone would still consider, mentorship for their own startup or something, so could they just drop an email to Noelia and say, "Hey, Noelia, I love your business model, I love your experience, and I just enjoy whatever you just said, in this last 40 minutes." Could they somehow contact you and could you become the next mentor for their startup journey?
Yes.
On
Or they can. Yeah. They can, find me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to share my experience, or maybe, have a quick talk about their project. And if I can, as I told you, sometimes from the outside, you see very quickly, which are the points where someone should maybe look first and optimize. Yes. This they can do. And I am actually starting, I think it's going to start in March. I'm going to start being a mentor again in another entrepreneurship program in Spain, and not on for female this time. So I hope there I can also be more my mentorship skills and, let's say, toolbox. So hope from there it's going to be even better. Yes.
Beautiful. And you can mentor in English, German, Spanish, then...
I can understand Portuguese.
Portuguese, okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. So at least 4 languages, right? 3 solid and 1 understanding. Amazing.
Yeah.
Great. So then we have another mentor for whoever will be watching this video, and some useful insights about the ecosystem and also how to build your business, which accelerator to join in, and just to keep up and, sometimes give a good room for your ideas and not to stress too much, right? I think if you feel like you give up. Beautiful.
And maybe one last thought, because you've been talking or asking explicitly about female founders and programs for females. So actually what I tried, so I come from the engineering world. So I'm used to be like the only female in the role. And my way was, I never looked like I'm going to look for the accelerator for females or coaches, funding coaches for females or something like this. So I just went the way that I think anyone can go and use whatever is available for anyone. So I think it's also important to consider that, there are a lot of options available, not only accelerators and not only programs for females. Maybe not being, let's say, limited to one small ecosystem. I think, considering the big picture is also very, very important.
Beautiful. I think that's a great final word.